thanks for joining the show today and welcome to my kitchen. Today we are cooking with Barb Van Lith. She is the owner of Ring a Bell Catering. I saw on Facebook that she was organizing a cooking show for kids and I thought it'd be fun to have her on the show via Zoom. I have everything prepared already. We each decided to prepare our proteins ahead of time, so I whipped up the shrimp and I have the vegetables chopped for just at the end. And then I used all these dishes that I have just like on television, you know, this is television. How on Rachel Ray and cooking shows like that, they have everything pre-measured, and I've always liked that. It makes it easier. So I might do that ongoing. But everything's ready and we're gonna zoom in with her. Her kids are at home helping her film this, and my kid is at home helping me film. So we hope you'll learn something from the recipe, or at least have a good time hanging out with us. Hi, Barb.
Hey, how are you, friend?
Hey, Caden, how are you doing?
Good.
So we're gonna cook today on Zoom. Let's see how this all works out. We have Carter, your daughter, at home filming behind the scenes. I've got Hunter here, my son, filming behind the scenes, and then we'll chop it all up, put it all together, and make a show of it. So thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like, you know, in quarantine, we're getting the whole family involved, and I have my beautiful and handsome son and daughter, and Kane's gonna be my sous chef today. So.
Nice. Well, let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna cook today. We're cooking Alfredo. You told me all the ingredients we need. I have them ready. And just tell me the first thing I need to do, I guess.
Yeah, so I think get the water boiling, because that will need to happen. We'll want that drained and ready to go. And we have a few surprises for the hot water boil. But do you have a recipe? I always like to talk about the recipe. You're just
no, that's funny because it's on my computer, but I didn't print it. So we'll rely on your copy.
Okay, so I just like to tell everybody, you know, I'm like you, I wing it a lot. This is a recipe that I make a lot, but for the viewers and kind of walking them through this, the main thing is definitely have your recipe on hand in case you forget something. And I always really recommend reading the recipe all the way through. Sometimes there's a step in it that if you miss it, you can't go back. And so
yeah, it's a surprise, something you missed, and then it messes the whole thing up from there.
Right? Yeah, so for an example, in this recipe, it says 1.5 cups of Parmesan cheese. Well, halfway through when we're making the sauce, we're only gonna use 1 of those cups of Parmesan because the other half is gonna be for the top. So if you're not reading and you're just kind of whipping through it, you see that 1.5 cup Parmesan and you're throwing the whole thing in, and then you don't have any for the top. So really good kind of tip to just read all the way through it, familiarize yourself with the recipe kind of before you get going. So you have your water starting? Are we boiling?
It's actually
water?
Pretty hot. It's
okay. All right. Mine's getting there too. I see the steam.
Right.
Up. So
I have my pan hot too.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and turn your pan on. Go ahead and do it on high. You know, the cooking geek that I am, I love, is that cast iron?
It is.
Oh, I love that.
That's what I use most of the time. It kind of makes it, it's hard to mess up with it, I think.
Oh, good. Because a lot of people are super intimidated by cast iron.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I like it. It gets the sear I need, and
yeah,
know how the temperature control works on it and that sort of thing. I'm familiar with it, so it makes it easier.
Well, good. And so maybe you can talk a little as we're going through this. I'm using a non-stick, okay? And so I've been working with kids a lot too. So trying to think about troubleshooting kind of the easiest, quote, way to do that. I've always had success with non-stick, especially with cream sauces and stuff, not actually sticking to the pan. So I myself have never seen an Alfredo made in a cast iron, so I'm pumped about it. Good. I think you're gonna show everybody that anything can be done in a cast iron, which is fabulous. Okay, so we're getting this heated, and we're gonna go for 2 cups of the heavy whipping cream. No, sorry. I don't use butter, and so I very often forget to. So we are going to use butter for this delicious cream sauce. So toss your butter in there.
The whole part that you told me to use?
Yep, the 4 tablespoons. So we're going to do 4 tablespoons as per recipe of the butter.
So the cast iron, one of the differences is it should be probably medium high.
Okay. So let's do that. Yeah. So why don't you do medium high? And honestly, I tell most people medium high because it'll take a little longer, Lisa, but we're in no hurry, right? We're having fun. Right. And you better.
Lots of time. Enough of a time.
Okay, so once that butter's melted, go ahead and toss your 2 cups of heavy cream in.
Now I feel all intimidated with my cast iron skillet.
No, it's excellent. You know, I normally use cast iron, like you said, to brown things and to get that nice crust on meat and stuff. But I know people bake cakes in it, and people do a lot of different.
Right, cornbread, things like that.
Yeah. So I'm
We're
excited.
not putting the full 2 cups in.
The whole 2 cups. Just dump it in all at once, and it'll mix around with that butter. And so you can either get some type of a spatula or some kind of a whisk. With cast iron, I don't think a metal whisk will hurt that.
Yeah, I have my whisk ready.
Okay, so you're just gonna wanna give that a toss around once in a while, and you'll notice that it's going to start to bubble, okay? It'll start bubbling from the outside and work its way in. Kind of a cool trick is we call this beading. So as it's bubbling, if you're looking at it, it kind of looks like beads or pearls. And so that will gauge kind of how the sauce is doing and how it's thickening. And so if you see the outside will cook faster and the inside is still not really boiling yet, right? So we are actually going to bring this, Lisa, all the way up to a good boil. How's your water doing boiling?
It's evaporating. I have plenty in there though. I feel pretty high knowing that this would happen.
Okay, so I am going to turn my Alfredo sauce down a bit. Mine is boiling, but that's okay because it needs to continue to boil because it kind of reduces down into that nice thick sauce.
Right, okay.
So we're gonna get yours up to a boil, and you can zap that a little bit on high and then we'll bring it down.
Yeah, I have it on high and it's just starting to get bubbly.
Perfect, okay. So what we're gonna do, I think we're gonna toss in our pasta. Did you have spaghetti today?
Ooh, way hot now. My commitment to following the rules and compliance about shopping, I'm just using what I have.
Yeah, well, and that really proves a good point. And we're gonna kind of go with what we have today too. Here's a question with your spaghetti.
Okay.
Do you snap it in half or do you leave it all whole?
I usually snap it in half. Hunter, do you like it snapped in half or one big noodle?
Just as long as I get the whole noodle when I eat it.
I snap it in half too. I think it's just a little bit easier to eat, kind of come time to plate. I had a Costco thing and it was actually 17.9. It was very random. So I took most of it, but not all of my package. And so I just tossed it in there. You're also gonna give it a little bit of a swirl with your spoon or your whisk. You don't want the pasta to stick together. So if you just kind of disconnect them in the hot water, you don't have to stir frequently, but we're probably gonna keep our eye on it. Don't forget to set your timer. Oh, Hayden, my beautiful sous chef, will you set the timer? I normally boil this pasta for 11 minutes. So why don't we set the timer for 9? Because at 9 minutes, we're gonna do something. We're gonna toss in our vegetables or our shrimp with that.
Okay, I'm gonna put 8 for mine, just because I'm gonna do asparagus and it might take a little longer.
Okay.
Okay, I've got this going and it's nice and hot and happy.
Okay, great. Mine's boiling like crazy too. So with your pasta, when it's boiling, you do want to keep it at that rapid boil. I always use bigger pans because as I noticed with your Alfredo, it was starting to reach the rim and the brim. And this Alfredo will create a pretty big mess if you do let it kind of.
So question, is it supposed to be like foamy boiling?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm not overdoing it. And do I need to keep stirring it so it doesn't stick?
I would. Go ahead and give it some stirring right now. With your whisk, kind of whisk it around. You should notice the foam will kind of start to disappear once you kind of just start moving the cream around in the pan.
And if it's not, I need to turn it down again. Correct? A little bit?
I mean, I cook this stuff very high, very hot, very fast. And it really will not hurt it. And so that's what's deceiving, because in our minds, when we're cooking milk product, you know, we're always worried about scalding it or it separating and whatnot. The heavy cream with the cream content, it just doesn't. That's what makes this sauce almost foolproof. So that's why I really wanted to teach the kids this sauce, because you kind of can't ruin it.
So Barb, your screen is frozen. So I can't see you.
Oh, so is hers.
Oh, so is yours.
So we lost a few minutes due to technology. View. Barb's using her phone now instead of her computer because we were getting froze up here. The pasta timer already went off. I turned mine down just a little and got it going again. That's probably not the greatest idea, but and we are here with our Alfredo that's been simmering for a good while now. So now what do we do?
Okay, so you're fine with the pasta because remember we set the timer a little early. So we're just gonna do what I wanted to do originally. Kaden, will you reset that timer? We're gonna go for 2 more minutes. And this is going to be where your asparagus comes into play.
Okay.
Or anything that you wanna throw in. You had talked about the shrimp too.
So I already cooked the shrimp, I sauteed it. And then Hunter doesn't like his vegetables in his pasta. So I'm going to, let me turn the timer off. I'm just gonna, I always steam it at the top of my pasta at the end.
That's awesome. So again, they're really with cooking are not set rules. So you doing it that way shows your viewers one way to do it. I'm gonna show a little bit. So 2 things. You can have your protein, which is shrimp or chicken. I have some chicken here. This is basically just the rotisserie chicken that's from Costco that I chopped up. If you wanted to do shrimp, this is actually a raw shrimp, so it has not been cooked yet. So this is a fun little trick. I also have broccoli with mine too, instead of asparagus. So little cooking hack is if we toss the broccoli in and the shrimp in, for the last 2 minutes of this water boiling, it's gonna cook that shrimp and broccoli to perfection. And then we're going to just dump all that in the cream sauce. So it's super easy. We have not added any seasoning to this yet. Caden's gonna go ahead and take the pot over. He's gonna strain that and we're gonna let it sit in the colander and just kind of drip dry. We don't wanna
rinse it with water or anything, or you leave it?
No, so I was just gonna say that. Don't rinse with cold water, don't do any of that. It'll be nice and it'll help the cream sauce and stay really creamy to have that starch on it as well. So,
okay.
All right, so if you would like to, we're gonna season this. All I do with my Alfredo is I do salt, pepper, and a garlic, either garlic powder or granulated garlic. And so that's-
I did garlic powder as well as a little bit of fresh garlic.
Oh, perfect, okay.
And I just put it all in one.
Okay, so I just have granulated garlic, so I just toss, you know, right into that sauce direct, sprinkle it around, don't glomp it, or it might stay in that cluster in there.
Oh, well, look at that. I just glomped it. I got it all in one. No, it's doing fine.
What you're looking for is as that's boiling, you're looking for that beading. And as the beading gets bigger and bigger, that's kind of an indication that your sauce is getting thicker and thicker. Right. So if you actually kind of dip your whisk into the sauce and you kind of lift it up, if it's still dripping pretty quickly off of there, you still got a ways to go. The biggest problem, people get a little impatient and they really don't let it cook down and thicken. So behind me, I just have, just like you, I have my pasta ready to go. Again, beside me, I have some chicken if I wanted to add that. I have the shrimp and my broccoli just already in that pasta waiting to go. So Carter, check this out. Look at these nice big beads. That's when you know it's perfect.
Okay, I've got those.
You got those?
Mm-hmm.
Now take your whisk and kind of dunk it in really good and kind of see how it drips off. Do you feel good about that consistency, or do you think it needs to cook down a little more?
No, I think it's good.
Okay, great. All right, well, we're ready to go. So why don't you go ahead and take your 1 cup, and again, don't glomp it. Just go ahead and scatter it throughout your sauce. Turn your heat down to low, because at this point, everything should be warm. We're just basically melting the cheese, and we're basically just going to toss around the pasta, the protein, the vegetables. So stir in that cheese. And Caden's gonna bring it over for us. And he's just gonna drop the whole thing right in there, all at once. Good job. So we were saving a little of that Parmesan cheese for the top as well. Wow, mine looks delicious.
So dump it into my pot.
Yep, go ahead and just, and if you have like a spatula or something, that way you can get every little ounce of that cream sauce in there. My right hand utensil is definitely like a spatula that you would, I don't know if you can see this. This is kind of a big one, but.
I can't find my bigger one. This is the one from my trailer when I go on the Don't Wait Project tours.
Oh, cute.
Little tiny.
Well, and that'll help you stir around the pasta and the sauce too.
Okay.
And again, there's no rules to this. You could put artichoke hearts in it, red peppers in it, mushrooms in it.
But I know Hunter, he likes a lot of shrimp, and so we'll be fighting over the shrimp, I'm pretty sure.
So I'm actually dishing mine because I can't stand it. If my kids are going nuts, they want to eat it right now.
Okay, well, let's take a break. Let's see how you dish yours, and we'll just show that. And take a break, and then let's sit down and eat together and just chat a bit about life in general.
I would love that. That would be great. That's what it's all about, cooking and sharing.
Okay, we'll be back in just a second. So we have our delicious meal here now. I have
Oh, yours look good.
shrimp, yes. And we're gonna have a nice big lunch.
Yeah, definitely.
We're gonna have to just deal with the sounds of the house. So we all both have kids home. And the fridge is turning on and off and all of that, but that's fine. So we're gonna eat, and if you don't like watching people eat, let's just act like we're in a restaurant, right? You'd sit and have a conversation in a restaurant.
Totally, totally.
Tell me a little bit about what it's like right now. You know, everybody's life has changed, no matter what. Whether you're working from home, you're still going to work, you have kids at home, or you have kids at college who've come home, or you know, no matter what your life was like, it's got to have some different feel to it than it did before. So you specifically, with having 2 kids who are active and all of that, how are you handling homeschooling? How are you handling this downtime?
Well, I think individually all have our challenges. As far as me being a stay-at-home mom, I've been the one that's kind of done that throughout the years. I have my business at my house. So for us, it's not a huge adjustment for me being here and doing that. Although I'm not very structured, that's not my strong suit. And so I'm kind of a wing it, kind of fly by the seat of your pants kind of gal. And so for me, what I've noticed is that I have to super concentrate on creating that structure for the kids. And so, kind of a pattern of getting up in the morning, making your bed, it's just so easy to get off track. They walk the dogs now, which they've never done. I mean, we're doing things. As you know, we're a super busy family. So we literally are always on the go. I mean, our weekends, our weekdays, we're running around kids. They're very active. They're very
multiple sports, right?
Yeah. So multiple sports, travel sports, playing at a higher level. And so we're oftentimes traveling out of town for that. And just, I'm running one kid around trying to, make the time to get to one practice to the next. And so for me, it's slowing down has actually been nice. And it really just kind of reshifts your mind to what's important, And just kind of getting back to like cooking, for an example. This has been amazing to have my kids in the kitchen and really teach them hands-on stuff. I'm a professional cook. That's what I do for a living. And my daughter didn't even know how to spread mayonnaise on a sandwich the other day.
Really? Before now? Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's just such an indication of how busy we get, right? I mean, that's what I do every day.
Well, and it's just easier to do it for them. You make their lunch or whatever it is. The thing for me too is just having, you could take a bite now because I'm going to talk for a second.
Okay. I'm dying to.
I know, right? I haven't gotten to take a bite yet. But for me, with my son is home from college. If you're away at college, everyone's home. He has an internship that was lined up for this summer that is now, they've changed how they're going to do it. It's with a large corporation, so they've said they're going to do it remotely, which, I'm really glad that they kept the commitment to the kids who've committed, the young adults who've committed to that internship, because they were counting on the money. He's getting paid. He's getting paid a stipend too as well. And so now they've shifted it to where it'll be remote work. And that won't really give Hunter a good idea of what he wanted, if this is something he wanted to do. But I bring it up to say that last year when he was home for summer, I thought that was it. He wouldn't live at home again because he isn't going to live here after college. And what was funny about that is he turned 21 right as spring break started. We got back from vacation. I was supposed to go on tour, which was postponed because of all of this. And he turned 21, all the bars closed, and he moved home with his mom. So he had, I feel for the kids who are in school. I feel for the kids who are about to graduate, whether it's from college or high school or trade school, whatever was coming up for them, that there was going to be this rite of passage to the next phase in their lives. And so even though I don't have young kids that I have to manage his routine, he's taking online classes, he takes care of all of that, it's definitely different than how I thought it would look. For me, it's nice to have him home, but I don't want this for him.
Right.
I don't want him to have this big pause in his life right now when he had all that excitement and momentum. But when looking at the big picture of the rest of the world and our country and our community, our state, our town, this is what we're supposed to do. And if we get in line with it, the sooner things will get better.
Well, and I think it really is, like you said, it's not what you envision. Obviously, you want people to continue, to not have these hardships, but it's making us kind of think in different directions that we've just stayed so slotted in, even for myself and my business. And so I kind of like that part of it.
What do you think, if whether it's business, family, routine, your children, your relationship, whatever it is, what's your biggest takeaway so far?
My biggest takeaway is just everybody really learning that human connection is important. I mean, I think, again, that's a real, with technology, we've kind of had some technology talks and whatnot. I mean, it's kind of interesting because like our teenagers and our kids are relying on that technology to connect. But then I think they're also kind of seeing without the human touch and the physical connectivity, like with teams and sports and school, that, they're digging being able to chat, FaceTime and stuff, their friends, but I think that they're also missing that physical. So maybe that will kind of come in a really bizarre full circle way and really bring the value to that human connection, for sure.
And definitely, this is a new time in our world, and I hope we never go through it again in our lifetime.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Yeah.
We were going to eat our food, and we haven't even. I mean, what are we going to do? Just sit here and stuff our faces on television?
Yeah, and you picked spaghetti, and we didn't think that through.
Right? It was something else, but even like a big burger would have been a problem. Thanks for spending part of your afternoon with me.
Absolutely. You always have such a great insight. So thank you for always sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I'm enjoying this time of getting to just let people share what's on their mind and on their hearts and trying to share the good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's refreshing.
Take care.
Okay, you too. Thanks.
The Toyota RAV4 is the best-selling SUV in its class. The legendary RAV4 started selling in 1994 as Toyota's first compact SUV. In addition to the gas engine RAV4, Toyota is the only brand offering 4 hybrid trim levels. Its cabin serves up a sleek design, and rear seat passengers enjoy plenty of room. Come test drive a RAV4 at Town Toyota today. The best-selling SUV just got better.